Welcome aboard the roller coaster of human emotions as we dive headfirst into the wild ride of 5 insane reactions to life. Buckle up, folks, because this isn't your ordinary story. It's a heart-pounding journey through the unexpected twists and turns of life that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Number 1. Jamil Smith Riley. Imagine a courtroom charged with tension and emotions running high. Meet Jaleel Smith Riley, a 23-year-old caught in the storm of fate. As the gavel falls on Norwood, the man responsible for a tragic crime, Smith Riley's world crumbles. Portia Brooks and Aaron Martin, an unsuspecting couple on Carthage Avenue in November 2013, faced the unthinkable. A failed robbery turned fatal. Portia passed away after spending several days at the hospital. Martin has survived with serious physical aftereffects. Jamil Smith Riley, 23, asked to change his plea in the homicide of a 22-year-old woman during a botched robbery at court on Wednesday. Judge Barry Kubicki refused his request, but he eliminated the death penalty too. Smith Riley couldn't stop crying during the hearing Wednesday, kept apologizing, and declared that he had made a mistake in 2013. Smith Riley confessed to murdering Portia Brooks and wounding her boyfriend in Norwood back in 2013 originally. Brooks' mother brings her daughter's ashes to the courtroom, a tangible reminder of the irrevocable loss. She brought them again when Smith Riley insisted on wanting to switch his plea once more, as the deceased sister bravely declares,
"I have to deal with life without Portia, so he should deal with life without parole."
The weight of the tragedy hangs in the air, demanding justice for a life cut short. Hamilton County Prosecutor Joe DeTers reported that Smith Riley had fired his gun at Brooks and her sweetheart, Aaron Martin, while attempting to rob them on November 16, 2013. Martin is still alive. However, Portia died 3 days later. The couple had been sitting inside their car on Carthage Avenue in Norwood when Smith Riley walked up and asked Martin to get out of the car. After realizing Martin had nothing valuable to take from him, Smith Riley shot him in the head, then leaned into the vehicle and fatally discharged at Portia Brooks. In a surprising turn, Judge Barry Kubicki decides against the death penalty, opting for a life sentence without parole. The gravity of the sentence hit Smith Riley like a tidal wave, collapsing in the courtroom. Sheriff deputies step in, raising him to his feet, a symbolic act of facing the consequences of his actions. Now to the next crazy reaction. Number 2. Deanna Lovejoy. Woman faints after being given sentence for plotting to kill her husband. Deanna Lovejoy, 45, from Carlsbad, went limp and face-planted into the courtroom floor on Monday after being found guilty of hiring an ex-Marine to attack during a messy custody battle. Meet Deanna Lovejoy, once married to Greg Millville, in what seemed like an idyllic life in Carlsbad. However, fairy tales can take dark turns, and theirs did. The once happy couple faced the bitter sting of a dissolved marriage and a messy divorce, concluding with a court order for Deanna to pay Greg a hefty $120,000 for his share in the family home. Adding fuel to the legal fire, the court mandated shared custody of their son, a decision that left Deanna seething with outrage. In a plot that reads like a thriller novel, Deanna, fueled by bitterness and resentment, conspired with her boyfriend, Weldon McDavid, an ex-Marine and weapons expert, to take the matters into their own hands. A gunshot rang out, leaving Greg wounded in the torso, but miraculously alive. The courtroom held its breath as the truth emerged. Deanna and McDavid were found guilty of attempted murder and conspiracy to commit murder. The judge declared McDavid's punishment as 50 years to life and Deanna's as 26 years to life. The verdict brought a stunned silence over the courtroom as people heard her family's cries in the background. And then, in a dramatic moment that could rival any movie scene, Deanna Lovejoy fainted at the defendant's table. The medics rushed in and then rushed her out of the court. Before we leave this courtroom drama behind, take a moment to reflect. What drives someone to the edge, pushing them to conspire against a former partner? Share your thoughts, join the conversation. Number 3. Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari. In a chilling courtroom scene, District Court Judge Sarah J. Somolensky delivered the sentence that echoed through the courtroom: life without parole. Their prospective punishment for the death of little Mary Welch. The co-accused are facing felony murder and first-degree child abuse charges. The tragic tale began when Welch, on a fateful August day, called the police to their home. The lifeless form of Mary Welch was discovered in her crib, her once vibrant cheeks and eyes now sunken into her head, as described by a police officer. The couple's admission to investigators painted a grim picture. They confessed that Mary had been wasting away for a month, yet they chose not to seek medical help. Why? Fears of Child Protective Services, a deep-seated distrust in medical services, and religious beliefs that clashed with seeking professional care kept them from acting. Her parents knew that she was underweight, but they refused to take her to the hospital because they did not trust the medical system. Seth Welch and Tatiana Fusari's house was littered with Bible verse signs and religious messages. Medical experts determined Mary died of dehydration and malnutrition, based on what was reported in the outlet. Mary weighed 6 pounds at the time of death. On the day she died, her parents left her alone for about 17 hours, and the autopsy report showed that Mary had not had any food for days. Tatiana, appearing in court, claimed not to have noticed anything wrong with her daughter, adding another layer of tragedy to this heart-wrenching tale. Number 4. Ryan Stone. The family of the man who led police on a dangerous car chase that spanned more than 60 miles pleaded with the judge to be understanding as he was sentenced. As Stone's family pleaded with the judge for leniency, hoping for understanding, chilling recordings played during his sentencing hearing revealed a stark contrast. Stone, 30, boasted about making international news and callously belittled the victims involved in his crime spree. Stone, 30, was sentenced to 160 years in prison. He will likely become eligible for parole after 75 years, prosecutors said. Convicted of 18 charges in April, including attempted manslaughter, first-degree assault, and child abuse, Stone's dangerous escapade in March 2014 saw him reach speeds of 100 miles per hour, weaving through traffic and switching vehicles like a criminal mastermind. He spoke briefly at his sentencing before Judge Paul King. "I would like you to know that I'm not the person that you hear in those tapes," Stone said. "You heard what they said I was." The pursuit started in Longmont, where Stone, wanted for missing court dates related to drug charges, stole an SUV with a 4-year-old boy secured in a car seat, carjacking 2 more vehicles along the way. Stone's reckless journey left Trooper Bellaman He critically injured as Stone hit him at approximately 90 miles per hour. He's legs shattered in 20 places, and although he survived, the toll on his life and well-being is immeasurable. Had he been hit in any other way, he likely would have been killed, prosecutors said. On Friday, he described the pain as constant headaches that he now lives with. The trooper had hoped to return to work full-time this month, but his exhaustion and injuries pushed that goal back. Even so, he claims that he believes his actions were part of his job. "Ultimately, I'm okay with it," he said. Stone's family and friends shed light on the struggles he faced. Battling drug addiction, particularly methamphetamine, a life derailed by substance abuse, led to the high-stakes escapade that would ultimately seal Stone's fate. Number 5. Esteban Carpio. In Providence, Rhode Island, April 16, 2005, began like any other night. Night owls roamed this New England hamlet while families ate dinner and friends drank. Evil powers conspired to disrupt the peace violently. Providence would be shocked by an unexpected murder by sunrise. Our heartbreaking story goes with 26-year-old Esteban Carpio, a father of 2 small children. Carpio had a long history of minor offenses and violence. His friends noticed his conduct deteriorating in the weeks before. Carpio believed he was hearing voices and became afraid. He thought evil spirits were after him. His girlfriend told police he often talked about being cursed by voodoo. Carpio carried a blessed string around his waist to ward against evil. His family was frightened and tried hard to get him mental health care, but nothing worked. In a rented red minivan, Esteban Carpio departed home that fateful April night. After dropping his girlfriend off for a job interview downtown, he promised to pick her up. She kept calling as Carpio remained absent for hours. After 9 p.m., Carpio saw 84-year-old Madeline Gata alone in her driveway on the east side. The unstable Carpio was too tempted to attack a defenseless older woman alone at night. Carpio grabbed a cap and a scarf from under his seat as he parked his minivan half a street away. He hid his face, leaving only his eyes exposed. Carpio then put a big hunting knife in his jacket pocket. Carpio sped up the walkway toward Madeline, determined to violence. As the villain approached, the older woman screamed. Unfortunately, Carpio forced the blade deep into Madeline's upper back. In anguish, she dropped to the ground, crying loudly. Hearing her scream, neighbors fled. Carpio hurried to his running minivan. He hurriedly got in, accelerated, and drove off into the night. This left Madeline bleeding on the road. A wise person nearby wrote down the van's license plate number as it drove away. Carpio then got his girlfriend acting normal. She was unaware that something horrible had transpired that night. The witness's license plate number helped cops discover the weird van quickly. Police surrounded Carpio's residence an hour after the terrible incident, ready to arrest him. After some hesitation, his partner helped him come outside. Detectives James Allen and John McGeehan took Carpio to police headquarters for intense questioning. Veteran homicide detectives took the guy to a third-floor questioning room. Carpio was calm at first and supplied a phony name, Rosalino Carr. He told cops he didn't know anything about the stabbing. He changed his mind as the police presented more evidence. The 2 investigators spoke with Carpio for 20 anxious minutes. Detective Allen then decided. McGeehan struggled to open the door to return to the room. It was internally locked. He kept hearing Carpio yelling. His loud hammering on the door demanded entry, but Carpio ignored him. Backup officers ran down the corridor and kicked the locked door hard. Allen bawled for rescue. "He's grabbed my rifle. He'll murder me." It was too late when officers broke the door. Detective Allen was shot twice in the chest at point-blank range with his service pistol, and he collapsed. In the brief minute McGeehan left, Carpio defeated the senior detective and seized his firearm. Carpio fired a third shot into a window after shooting Allen twice in the chest. He jumped through the broken glass into the stormy night 3 stories below. Carpio was badly injured after landing on the concrete below, but adrenaline got him up. Officers entered and found Allen bleeding from 2 chest bullets. Sadly, he died from his wounds the next morning. Police in Providence initiated a large search for the cop killer Esteban Carpio, who was injured and desperate. Carpio asked a friend to drive him out of the state. 1 hour after the incident, SWAT immediately encircled a residence near the station and located Carpio hiding. When arrested, Carpio resisted fiercely. After a battle and tasers, the police took him down. After his arrest, Carpio was hospitalized for wounds from his 3-story jump and extreme fear. With fractured bones and bloody gashes, his face was bloated and battered. Police made Carpio wear a mask in court a few days later. They said it was to prevent him from spitting at the cops, which may spread diseases and make people sick. However, Carpio's family believed the cops were concealing something. they suspected the cops beat. As Providence mourned Detective James Allen, a renowned cop, Carpio was jailed without bail for first-degree murder. In June 2006, prosecutors claimed Carpio killed a cop in cold blood to avoid justice for stabbing an older woman. Their witnesses vividly described the terrifying happenings. The defense did not dispute Carpio killed Allen. However, his lawyer said Carpio was insane and unable to control his crazy imagination. Prosecution psychiatrists adamantly denied Carpio fit Rhode Island's rigorous legal definition of insane. A jury decided the case after 2 stressful weeks. And after 3 grueling days, the jury found guilty on all counts. The Allen family wept with satisfaction that justice was served as Carpio lowered his head. At sentence, Carpio cried as he apologized to the deceased family and community. The judge sentenced Carpio to life without parole, noting his vast criminal history. To say goodbye to Detective James Allen, a hero to all, hundreds packed the streets. After 25 years of valiant service to Providence, the 55-year-old father of 3 was buried with police honors. Esteban Carpio's cold-blooded deeds landed him in prison until his death, isolated from society as a horrible memory Rhode Island would quickly forget. That concludes our riveting journey through 5 insane reactions to life. If these stories touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us for more gripping narratives. Until next time, stay strong and compassionate.